What up, YouTube? Welcome back to When Tonight's Guys Retaliate. I was just thinking, had a interesting, basically topic or a thought, and it goes along the lines of an alpha test. And the alpha test is basically a test about if a man is an alpha, first of all. And if he is an alpha, what kind of alpha is he? All right. Now, you have guys who proclaim to be alphas, and they can be alpha based on their personality. They can be an alpha based on their size. They can be an alpha based on their position, in a particular society. But that don't necessarily mean they're a good alpha or, good for you. And a lot of times in these days, we have a lot of guys who are proclaiming alpha, and they're trying to basically tell us, or, guys who they assume are not alpha, how to be alpha. And I find that kind of interesting because you have these guys, a lot of times they're disrespecting other types of men. Now, I don't necessarily condone, disrespecting men, but I don't think a man, whether he's alpha or not, should just go out and disrespect another man. Back in the day, I would probably consider that bullying. And, most people, depending on who you are, don't necessarily take kindly to bullying, whether you can actually push back on the bully or not. Bullying is really not, most people don't like it. And part of the issue I have with guys being alpha is competition, all right? Now, if you're going to be alpha and you're trying to do, trying to mentor people who you believe there aren't alpha, I think you should remain in that position, all right, if that's what you're going to do and you're potentially good at it, okay? I find fault with it is if you claim to be alpha, but also in the same token be competition. Now, this isn't necessarily in the realm of, I guess it could go in multiple realms, but my thought process for this particular video is with women, all right? So you have a lot of guys, alpha guys, saying that, calling other guys simps, depending on how that guy entertains a woman, especially with money, they tend to disrespect guys and say, well, you're a simp because you're giving money. You're a simp because you're leading with your money. You're a simp because of this. You're a simp because of that and all this other junk. And the problem is back in the day, alphas, the guys who always got the girls, they would always say, don't hate the player, hate the game. And all right, I was like, I respected it. All right, at the time, all right, don't hate the player, hate the game. These dudes, they tall, they guys, they have, they got the looks, they got the swag, they got all these things that women like, and women come after them, So don't hate the player, hate the game. All right, they can go talk real nice. They got the experience to talk to women. Women, swoon over them, whatever you want to call it. And they got that advantage. The issue is, nowadays, the brothers who didn't necessarily have the swag, the height, the game, and all this other stuff, they did they did what they could do. They worked on what they could work on, which was their money-making power, their financial power, their ability to get influence, their ability to get status and position and stuff like that. And so now, since they don't have the swag, they don't have the height, they don't have these other things, they're using what they have, all right? And that's the money, that's the status, that's their ability to provide for a woman. But I find it really interesting that now you have an advantage that you didn't have before. They had all the advantages before, but now you get an advantage over them, and they have a problem with it. First, all their advantages led to the statement, don't hate the player, hate the game. But now, you guys have become the payer. You're not the player, the payer. So you can pay, you could take care of a woman, you could put her up in a hotel, you can fly somewhere, you can do whatever you want to do money-wise and take care of a woman. But now all of a sudden these alphas have a problem with you having basically an advantage over them. And they already got the height, they already got the game, they already got the swag, but now you got one advantage over them that takes women away from them, or it causes them to have to step up their game. First, you had to step up your game, you know what I'm saying? Because you ain't got the height, you ain't got the swag, you ain't got the style, you ain't got all this stuff. They telling you, and even nowadays, you got to step up your game. But your game is top tier in the money realm, you know what I'm saying, or mid tier or better than theirs. But all of a sudden now your advantage, one advantage over them, is a problem. I think that's the problem. Don't hate the payer, hate the game. That's it. First it was don't hate the player, hate the game. So when the payer's in the front seat, why are you changing? Why can't you take that L just like the nice guy, the simp, as you want to disrespectfully call people? Why are they now why they're in a position over you or an advantage over you? Now you can't swallow that pill. So I have a problem with that. I have a really big problem with that because it's basically it's basically being a hypocrite. You're gonna tell someone when you got the authority, you got the advantage, is don't hate the player, hate the game. But now the dude who don't have all the giftings and everything you got, now you want to tell him that, hey, you weak because you paying for it. You weak. Basically, what they're saying is you are less of a man because you don't have the same gifts and talents and skills that they have. That is what they're telling you to your face when they say this stuff. Instead of, hey, man, you got an advantage now. Use it. All right. Now, does that mean I think you need to go out there and spend all your money on a woman and be the payer in every sense of the word? No, it does not mean that. What it means is you have an advantage, but you still got to learn how to use that advantage. It's just like these guys who are the players. They have the looks, they have the swag, they have whatever else, but they still have to learn how to use their advantages to meet women, to talk to women, whatever else. All right. Just in that same token, you as the payer, you got to be able to use that to your advantage. And that does not mean going out there and necessarily advertising that you can go buy the world. That don't mean you got to buy a plane ticket to the moon. You don't have to do all this stuff. Now you can indicate, hey, I am successful in money, I can take care of you. You ain't got to tell exact numbers of what you make, all right? But this is another contradiction, all right, which I have with the females of this time who bring up the thing about why are you leading with money? First of all, that's stupid. And I just said a bad word I shouldn't have said. But to me, point blank, is stupid for a woman to knock you for leading with your money. All right? It's very stupid. You want to know the reason why? It's because you have a lot of these women going out here and becoming single mothers with dudes who ain't got no money. That makes absolutely no sense. You're going to go have a kid with a man that can't even take care of the kid financially? And that's just financial. We're not even talking about emotionally and whatever else, to take care of the kid being there. but they got the nerve to knock you for being able to take care of a kid financially, a woman financially, one woman. All right, no, that is dumb. Back in the day, you had to prove that you had some type of financial ability to take care of a woman before a man would even allow you to date his daughter. In a lot of cases, that was number one. All right, so that's a dumb concept, and it's even dumber that we have women who will knock you for being able to for basically telling that you can take care of them. All right, because they are getting in situations with men, and then I mean they can't even take care of the kid. They got to get on financial assistance. They got to get on government programs for food, all this other stuff. But if they actually had the I guess the inclination to find out if the dude could even take care of them before they slept with him, and then say, hey, if you can't take care of him, we can't do the do, they wouldn't be in that type of trouble. All right. And then, you got the situation with single mothers, they're the same, and I don't think they particularly understand what it means to be a man. And actually, I know that for a fact. They don't understand it. And that's not including all the laws and stuff like that they have that give women advantages over men after they're married. And it is a definite fact that women, before marriage, men have more power. After marriage, women have more power. All right, unless you get like a prenup, and then nowadays you basically need to be able to do a prenup. All right, and a prenup is going to protect you. And if you have a good woman, she would prefer to have the will, over a prenup. If she can't take a prenup, I don't care how fine she is, I don't care how good she is, whatever. That's the end of that relationship. You should end it, be out. All right. Now, I ain't saying that she can't come back from it, but that basically that prenup has got to be ironclad by a lawyer, and she can't get nothing out of it. You know what I'm saying? If y'all break apart, break up, get divorced, or whatever, nothing. And she better not be with another dude at any time in the time when you in a relationship. I don't care if you in an engagement, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, talking stage. If she entertained another man, she got another man in her heart. You don't do nothing with her. Don't do nothing with her. Don't have anything with her. Don't even entertain her. Deuces, out of there. All right. Because women nowadays, some women seem like they want to try to have their cake and eat it too, like these dudes who are so-called alphas. Now, going back to the alphas, the part of the issue I have with the alphas is they're mentoring you, trying to tell you how to be a man. All right. But at the same token, these same guys, some of these same guys, not all of them, but some of them are the ones that are messing around with the same women you want. All right. Now, alpha test, in my opinion, and let's say if he is a true alpha and there are a lot of women who are coming after him. Now, when I say alpha, I think you can be alpha in different ways. You can be alpha fighter. You can be alpha with women. Two different things. All right. Some people have one way, some people have the other way, and then you could be an alpha as far as making money. All right. You can be an alpha in different areas, but that don't mean you're an alpha in every area. You could be an alpha in everything. You could be an alpha in muscle. You could be an alpha in your business. You could be an alpha in just gaining wealth, period. All right. However, you could be an alpha with other dudes, but you could still not be an alpha when you're talking to a woman. All right. It's just like you can have a dude who's an alpha with women, but that dude is broke as a joke. He ain't got nothing but his ability to talk to women. All right, but he's an alpha with women, but he is a joke everywhere else. And I don't think necessarily you have guys who have everything. You may have very few guys who have everything. Now, usually you got guys that's going to have one place they're alpha, and that's where you should put your confidence in as far as being who you are. But An alpha, if he is really an alpha, all right, with women, and he's able to get different women, if your woman came up to him and she tried to entertain him, and that alpha supposedly knows it, he, if he is a good man, should tell her to go back to you. And if she ain't willing to go back to you, that alpha should be able to tell you that your woman ain't no good. Now, if he can't do that, he shouldn't be speaking in your life. Period. And in fact, if he has the nerve to call you a simp to your face, he shouldn't be in your life, because that's a disrespectful man. And you got a lot of women disrespecting you. Why is a man disrespecting you? As a smart man, he should know, just being a man, you don't just go around disrespecting other dudes. But if he has the nerve to disrespect you to your face by calling you a simp, more than likely he'll be disrespecting you, trying to get with your woman too. All right. So I guess you could say, message to you is, just cause a dude calls himself alpha doesn't mean he has your best interest. All right. And a lot of times he's trying to tell you how to be a man based on his own giftings, instead of encouraging you to be a man based on what you already have. If you ain't got the height, you ain't got the physical ability, the muzzle, you ain't got the stature, you ain't got the game, you ain't got the whatever else a woman can find attractive, but you can make money and take care of a woman that's willing to be there for you, that's what you need to focus in on. And he should encourage you in that area if he's trying to be a mentor to you. If he's trying to tell you how to be a man based on his giftings, he is not the right person to mentor you, because he's not looking at the world right. But that's the test, I think. An alpha should be able to tell your woman, if you're in that situation. You can ask them the question, and look, if my woman came to you, what would you do? If your woman came to him and asked him and made a pursuit towards you, as alpha, what would you do? If his answer is, I'm going to either tell her to go back to you, because he's an alpha, he's a leader, and he should be smart. And if you're a good man, he knows you're a good man, and that she's a good woman and she needs to be with you, he should be telling her to respect you, to what type of man you are, and to go back there and be faithful to you. If he does not, he is not a good person for you to be listening to. All right? Just like he disrespected you, calling you a weak man, simp, whatever else is, he'd take your woman. All right? So he is competition. He's not a mentor. You can't be competition and a mentor. Well, you can. All right? But if you're already at the top of the your food chain, why even worry about it? You're supposed to be alpha. Keep rolling. A dude is competition, he can't catch up to you. And then if he did catch up to you, he still should be encouraging you to even go further than him as a man, if he's an alpha. All right? Because he can't be there forever anyway. But I don't know. I guess you say it's kind of a tangent. Kind of ticks me off a little, when a dude tries to disrespect you as a man, especially if he was the one saying, don't hate the player, hate the game. You know what I'm saying? Don't hate the payer, hate the game. You know what I'm saying? If you can't keep up with the player and his advantage over you, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? You stay in your lane with what you can do. You know what I'm saying? If you got all the looks and all this other stuff, cool. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I think most people, most nice guys, we're going to respect this game, right? But when we have an advantage, we expect you to respect our game as well. That's simply it. But I think that's pretty much all I'm going to say on this particular topic. If you can identify with what I just said, I hope you guys will leave a comment, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think, because we have an alpha epidemic in women. We got an alpha epidemic in dudes, and everybody wants to be, all that in a bag of chips. And then the first thing they want to do is put somebody else down. Nah, bruh. Being nice, being kind, all right, should be something that's not a negative. And they shouldn't put you down because you are nice or kind or whatever. All right? You're just a different type of dude. They the player, you the nice guy. You got to respect each other's game. All right? And in fact, if you're a nice guy, you ain't got to become a bad guy just to change your game up. You just got to find a woman that plays the same way you play, that plays by the same rules, and is going to respect you. If not, kick everybody else to the curb. Period. But it's about finding that woman that matches up to you. And if she ain't matching up to you, willing to follow your lead, your way of life, your plan, leave her alone. I don't care how fine she is. She is not worth your time. All right? And if you want to try that job, you better make sure you get a prenup, whether she is the one or somebody else's. All right? Because the worst thing you can do is marry somebody else's woman and pay for her and potentially him, depending on what's going on. But that's just what happens when nice guys retaliate. Y'all guys take care. We'll see you.